Hi everyone and welcome to Inderes TV. Today we have Thomas Lundqvist with us, the CEO of OptiCept. Welcome, Thomas.
Thank you.
So to kick things off, could you introduce yourself and provide a brief overview of OptiCept for those who may not be familiar with your company?
Sure. Yes, I have been here since May last year. I'm an engineer in my background, and I have an executive MBA from Lund. In the last 23 years, I have been active in various operational and commercial roles in global food tech companies, basically being part of building new products, new offerings, and building organizations globally. And obviously see similar opportunities here with OptiCept. OptiCept is a company that is working with two technology platforms. One is pulse electric fields that we apply on the food side, both for liquid foods and for solid foods. And what we do is basically we open up the cell structure of some kind of foodstuff. It could be liquid or solid. And when we open up the cell structure, we access what's inside. So we can extract more juice, more nutrients, or even kill bacteria and germs and extend the shelf life of the product. And on the plant side, we work with vacuum injection. And here we inject nutrients and liquids, water basically, into living cells. It could be cuttings or it could be cut flowers, roses, to make them grow better or to extend the vase life of a rose, for example. So you can enjoy it at home or reduce waste in the store, for example.
So yeah, and that's very interesting. Could you elaborate a bit more on your revenue model and where in your customer's life cycle most of your revenues comes from?
Yeah, we work mainly, I would say, with fairly large, well-known companies, both on the food side and on the plant side. On the food side, for example, we're big in olive oil production, or we're in juices now, we're with Dole, and companies that has been around for a very long time. And they see an opportunity with our solution to improve their existing processes or to improve the sustainability of their operations, make products last longer, for example. But we also work with some newcomers in the industry who see there is an opportunity to use our technology to develop new products. I can give two examples. One example is actually a company from here, south of Sweden, who is doing a drink, nutritional drink, very tasty, based on nutrition inside an avocado stone.
Yeah.
And it's very difficult to reach those nutrients, so they use our technology to extract it. Or you have companies who want to launch juices with sensitive products, and it's difficult to do that because they don't last very long, and they can use our technology to solve that.
Yeah. So how would you say that your revenue model sort of differs across various business segments?
On the food side, on the food technology side, it's mainly capital sales.
Yeah.
So we're working with projects between 100,000 euros and 2.5 million euros typically. And that could cover a line with a customer or a complete factory if we're at the higher end. And then you have an aftermarket business on top of that. On the plant side, we work with recurring revenues. So the customer pay per use. So if they treat a rose, they pay a certain amount to treat that stem, or per cutting. And typically they pay 3 euro cent per stem or cutting. And to give people a feeling for what we're talking about, globally, you're producing approximately 40 billion stems a year and 10 billion cuttings. So I just did a small calculation. If we were to capture 1% of that volume, that would equal yearly revenues of 15 million euros.
Yeah.
So it's quite an exciting market to be on.
Yeah, definitely. Before, because you recently announced an important partnership, before we explore that, could you provide some insights into your existing go-to-market strategy?
Yes, of course. The benefit of having these two technologies is that you can do so much with it. We can be in many liquid food, we can be in wine, beer, oat milk, juice, milk, you name it on the liquid side, but we can also be on solid foods. It's used for potato processing, we can dry carrots with it and so on. And on the on the vacuum injection side, we can work with all cut flowers and cuttings. And we're a fairly small company still, although we want to grow. So our main issue, but also possibility, is to focus. And we have focused in on 3 segments, which is olive oil production, cut flowers, mainly roses, and eucalyptus cuttings right now. And we're expanding that a little bit. That allows us to focus, and for the other areas, FPS, like you mentioned, is a very good way for us to reach new markets and new segments without spreading ourselves too thin, basically.
Yeah. So how important is it currently for you to find new customers versus growing existing ones?
I think if you look at olives and cut flowers, we have the customer base we need.
Yeah.
So we can grow sufficiently with the customers we have. We're working with the largest in the world in both Europe, Latin America on roses, and Europe and also Asia now on food. So that looks really good. On cuttings, that's a fairly new product. So we launched it just a year ago, and now we have 2 commercial contracts. But customers, they have huge potential, each customer, but they want to start a little bit slow to see how it goes before they do it broadly over all their cuttings, which is natural. They don't want to take too much risk when they grow trees, right? So there we're looking for more customers, and so we're talking to many different in the industry now. So there it's important to find new. And of course, for the other segments, if we can find partnerships who help us address sales, then that's very important for us.
Yeah. Yeah, and speaking of partnership, we talked a bit about it, the partnership with FPS, a Canadian company. Could you shed some light on that?
Yes, absolutely. FPS Food Process Solutions is a company that started approximately 10 years ago.
Yeah.
They started as a contender in the freezing industry, where I actually came from originally. I was working for the global leader, JBT, a good company. Then FPS came and you can say challenged the industry, and over the last 10 years they have acquired a top position in freezing, cooling, and now also in frying solid food products. So for example, they are the solution provider to the potato industry, which is of course a huge industry. French fries, potato chips, and overall they cater to an industry that has a turnover of 280 billion euros. So of course it's a huge company, but very proactive, very entrepreneurial, and they have sales, they have marketing, they have engineers and manufacturing across the globe. So very good partner.
And how would you say that this partnership sort of impacting your go-to-market strategy?
It allows us to grow beyond our prioritized areas. We provide the core of the system they need, which is because their immediate target is to work on potato, to be the key provider for potato, and for that they need a PEF solution. You use the PEF solution to soften up the potato so you can cut it properly, and then when you fry it you get a better result and you get a better yield in the process, and they don't have a PEF solution today. So now we provide the core of the solution, which is the pulse electric field, and they provide the food handling unit that handles the product, the potato. And we have a system today that handles up to 10 ton an hour, but they can scale this up to maybe 90, 100 tons per hour, which is what the industry is looking for. So through them now, we can focus on our prioritized areas and they can help us grow this sector.
Yeah. So can you elaborate a bit on the potential revenues of this partnership? You have this like 50-50 profit sharing setup. What advantages do you see with this setup?
First of all, we're both very open-minded companies. We want to keep things simple. I think they bring a lot to the table. As I mentioned, they can design the equipment, manufacture it at low cost. They can sell, service, and install, and we bring the brain. Yeah. So for us, it's quick access to a huge market. But it has to be worth it for both parties. And we wanted to keep things simple. So we say, why don't we do open books on the projects? We focus on low cost because we think if we can develop a very low cost solution to the market that is highly, highly efficient, which we can do through some patents we have for handling solid products, we can bring a product to the customer that is less costly, but also more efficient, cost efficient for them to use in their production. So we think we have a really good chance to have a large impact on this market. And they are also building a large manufacturing site in China now, so we can really drive down cost further if we need to. So this way we think we can have a big impact, and we believe that we can basically start taking orders first half of 2024, and we can see revenues in the second half of 2024. And obviously now we're talking to the largest potato processors in the world.
So to wrap it up a bit and going back a bit, during the second quarter, you had an order book reaching almost 30 million Swedish crowns. What is like fueling this growth, and when do you anticipate converting it into revenue?
Yeah. During last year, during summer, we launched a new product. We call it Balder. That's the PEF generator that we use for all these different applications. And the key with that one is that it can do 10 tons per hour. And when we launched that, suddenly we got access to a lot of olive oil producers in Spain and Portugal on the Iberica Peninsula. And we were successful in signing commercial contracts with them last year. The idea was to put out these new machines, to start the production and to validate the machines through achieving 3 to 5% improvements in yield for these customers. Now, then a couple of things happened. First of all, we were a bit late with the machines. We had some components coming in late from our suppliers. So unfortunately, we supplied later than we wanted. And it's critical to be part of the start of the season, because then you have the green hard olives that provide the extra virgin olive oil that everyone wants to produce. And secondly, it was not a great season for olives because you had a very long dry period. So you had probably 50% of a normal harvest. So the farmers let the olives sitting on the trees very long. So when we started up our machines later in the season, we processed, you can say, very mature olives. And when they are very mature, getting the oil is not so difficult. So we agreed with the customers this is not the right season to do the validation. So actually now we're starting up these validations for the machines we have in this backlog. So here over the next months we will start to see the results and hopefully start turning some of this into revenues.
Yeah. Really exciting. Thank you for taking your time, and thank you for listening. Have a good day.
Thank you.